This is just a quick one. I just wanted to talk about what came up for me today when someone asked me how I was. And I answered them saying, yeah, I'm fine. Now, I've been grieving my daughter for 6 years and I still will say I'm fine. I could be out shopping, I might get a phone call, and I'll say it even to the people who love me. But fine isn't a word anymore. It's a door that I close. And when I get fed up of saying fine or okay, I've got others that I use. Say plodding on. I say that quite a lot. I'm just plodding on. It sounds relaxed and it sounds like I'm managing. And people don't tend to ask a second question after plodding on. Just go, oh yeah, it's fine. That's fine. Get in there. I use that quite a lot. Get in there. I no one ever asks where you're getting to. Getting where? Keeping busy. That's another one. That's one of the best ones because it's true. I am keeping busy. I'm keeping busy so I don't have to sit with all my feelings. I don't know if you can hear the kittens going mad in the background. But yeah, one day at a time. Can't complain. Mustn't grumble. Don't know. Can you add any more? What's your go-to answer? But listen to them. Every single one is said to close the conversation down so that the other person can walk away without worrying, or also we don't have to open ourselves up and make ourselves vulnerable. And we're not lying when we say them. We're just being polite about something that there's no polite version for. And the terrible thing is that it works. How often are you challenged on when you say, plodding on? The world and his dog will let you continue just as you are. You're rarely challenged on, really, what does that look like? How are you doing though? Now, I used to think this mask was a form of protection, and still sometimes it is. Like if you're at the supermarkets and the cashier says, how you doing? She doesn't need to know your life story. Same as like the plumber comes to the house. But it isn't just protection. It becomes a way of life. And you put that mask on before you open the front door, and you try and hold that mask on all day. And people then don't see how much effort that takes. And you get home and the mask drops and you're exhausted. And quite often those are the days when you end up in bed super early and maybe you can't even get up the next morning and you're wondering why you're so tired. I don't know if you recognise that feeling where getting up and pretending to be okay is just more energy than what you've got. But yeah, in the 6 years of wearing the mask, I've realised that people around you aren't being unkind or thoughtless. Quite often they're waiting for you to tell them that you're not okay. Or they're waiting for you to tell them that you're okay now. And you both stand there and you're both waiting. You're kind of thinking, are they going to ask another question? And they're waiting thinking, is she really okay? And nothing gets said. And I think a lot of people are frightened of asking the second question because they think if they ask it, it's going to make things worse and that they're going to remind you of how much pain you're in. And I know because it happens with me and I see it. And it's hard because you don't want everybody in your day asking you, how are you really? Tell me, how's the last week been? Or whatever. But at the same time, it's quite hard when no one's asking. And I think sometimes people think that they're just going to remind you that your daughter's dead. But the reality is, I'm thinking about my daughter all the time. I wake up with even in my sleep, I know Diva's died. And it's nice to hear that second question. Just even if it's just that door's open if you want it, they do want to know and you can tell them. And if you're not sure, really, what that second question should be, you can try, are you really all right though? Or you could say, fine, okay, right, tell me the real, how you doing? Or plodding on, you could respond with, plodding on through what? How is your week? How is your day? How are you feeling right now? Because none of them demand honesty, but they just open that door a little bit wider and it just gets in a habit that you just go, I'm fine. And Sometimes you can tell by someone's body language. You can tell whether it's a real smile. The real smile shows in the eyes as well, and a performed one just moves the mouth. Watch what happens. Look at someone's face when they think that you're looking away. When you answer and you go and then you turn your head, that's the moment that you'll see the real answer. Sometimes you can see it before they answer the question and their face changes to say, I'm fine. It's rehearsed, it's so practiced. Just watch for that subtle change. And nothing, you can't tell just by someone's body language. You can't tell just by someone's answer. But I think when you know someone's going through a really difficult time and you ask them how they are, they might be wanting to tell you how they really are. There might be a lot that they're holding in, and you might be the person that makes that difference. Think, if you've got people in your circle and they always tell you that they're okay, they're fine, and you're unsure, ask the second question. It's not going to upset them. Also watch out for the signs. Shortly after my daughter died, I found it difficult to reach out for help. And as far as I was concerned, everyone knows I'm struggling, but no one knows what to do. I don't know what to do. But I did know that walking helped. And so I set up a WhatsApp group. And I think that's something like, if your friend messages you wanting to, oh, do you want to go for a walk? Or whatever your thing is that you like to do. Could be, do you want to go bowling? Just watch for those little asks. Those little asks could be, I need to get out of my house. My brain is frazzled. I'm going around in circles. It could mean anything. Just know that when you've got those people around you that are perhaps vulnerable and going for a difficult time, when they ask you if you're free to do something, it could be a lot more than what they're actually asking for. There were times when I would go and walk and I didn't even care if it was raining. I didn't care where I was walking. I didn't even care whether the person with me is talking or whether or not we're talking about Diva. I just wanted to feel like I wasn't alone in what I was going through. And that really can make a big difference. Here's something I wrote around that time. How can I show you when I can't even show me? If I lift up my mask and release the tsunamis, because that's what it feels like. That's what the cost is, to be honest. When you're wearing this mask of and all this pain is hidden behind it, you don't want to let it all out at once. And sometimes just going for a walk helps. There were times when I couldn't even manage that, because if two people came back saying they were busy, I know it's not personal, but that was me finished for the day because I didn't have another ask in me. And it's not because they'd done anything wrong, but just on those days, the no's just felt so much larger than a normal no. It was like they're answering a question that's bigger. And that's when I started the WhatsApp group, so I could just ask everyone at once and nobody had to know why. But I still couldn't say the real sentence. I'm really struggling. I couldn't. It's just, can we go for a walk? But it got me out the house and it would get me into a different headspace. If that's where you are, just know that you're not failing. It's you finding a way around your grief and the pain that you're in. And it helps. It's a healthy way of dealing with your grief and your pain. And it can be hard because you can feel like asking for help is a sign of weakness, but actually it's one of the strongest things to do. One of the healthiest things to do is to ask for help when you need it. And if you are the person still saying, I'm one of them, if you're still saying, I'm fine, oh yeah, plodding on, mustn't grumble, like, you're surviving. There's no shame in that. And if that's what it takes to get you through the day, that's it. But if you're the person as well who loves someone who's plodding on, listen for the small asks, the walk, the cup of tea, the can you pop round? Because that is what asking for help can sound like. It will almost never be like, can you help me? I'm struggling. It will sound like something small and easy to say no to. Say yes when you can, and when you can't say yes today, Just say yes when you can, and make the no's kind. And that reminds me as well, because if someone's grieving and they tell you they're exhausted and they couldn't get out of bed this morning, please don't tell them how lucky they are to get that lie-in. Because not everyone who is having a lie-in is enjoying their lie-in. They don't necessarily want that time in bed, and they can be fighting with their own thoughts, and they're not in bed relaxing. If you recognise someone who this relates to, someone that says, fine, and you just wonder, send them the video, just so they know that you saw it and that you are welcome to opening that door. And I hope this has helped in some way, because we talk about suicide prevention, but actually before it gets to that point, there are people asking for help in little ways, and we don't always pick up on it. We don't always realise. But thank you for listening. And if this has brought anything up for you and you need to phone a helpline, please do that. Or if you've got a therapist, or if it helps to write down your thoughts. Some people, it helps to make a YouTube video. That's what helps me. And I'm also writing a book. But thank you for sitting with me, and just take care of yourself and your loved ones. Take care.